Welcome, listener, to Bite-Sized Tales, the Flash Fiction audio podcast. In this week's story, a superhero has to deal with a questionable decision he made while creating his suit of armor. Voice in My Head. Written by Wayne Cole. Read by Wayne Cole.
And Dot Moore.
Warning. If you continue on your current trajectory and speed, there is an 84.367% chance of a fatal impact with the approaching meteor.
What was I thinking when I had my ex-girlfriend record the voice patterns for the artificial intelligence in my suit of armor? Well, at the time, it sounded like a good idea. I could have a pleasant voice in my ear giving me information or advice. Instead of the synthesized voice, hers would make me smile. At least it did until we had a pretty vicious breakup. Now just hearing the voice is grating. Advice sounds like criticism. More than once, I've completely ignored it out of spite. If I don't do something about this soon, I might just get myself killed. But for some reason, I just can't bring myself to do it. It is almost a personal challenge now to overcome my reactions to the voice instead of changing it.
Warning. If you continue on your current trajectory and speed, there is an 85.934% chance of a fatal impact with the approaching meteor.
Would you please just shut up? I gritted my teeth, fighting against the G-forces, just trying to stay conscious.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. Could you please repeat your request in a more calm and rational tone?
Oh no, don't you give me that. You know exactly what I said, and what's with that passive-aggressive reply?
Oh, so you can hear me. I wasn't sure since you haven't adjusted your trajectory yet. There is still time to do that, by the way. Here, let me highlight a better angle for you on your heads-up display.
I let out a loud grunt of frustration, but couldn't really say anything else. My plan was to shoot through the atmosphere directly at the meteor, turn my shields forward, and basically ricochet off of it. I was hoping the force would push it into a better angle to burn up entering the atmosphere. It wasn't just a wild hope. I had spent the last 2 hours going over my math, and I was out of time. I was as confident in my numbers as I could humanly be. My AI was not human, though, and as the suggested trajectory appeared on my display, I realized that I should have consulted her. It, not her. I have to stop doing that. Olivia is not a person. Maybe I made that harder to remember by giving her a female voice and name. I can't even blame the name on being an acronym. I just kind of like the name and have spent the last 6 months trying to figure out an acronym that would work for it. I adjusted to the new trajectory and felt the pressure on my body lighten. Not only was this a better angle, but it was easier on me physically as well. Words cannot explain how annoyed I was that Olivia had figured out what my plan was and improved in a matter of minutes on my hours of work. That is the whole reason I had worked with my ex to integrate her into the suit. At the speeds I sometimes flew, the human mind just isn't fast enough to avoid sudden obstacles or target a plasma blast. I knew this logically, but it didn't change how frustrated I was. A lot of lives were on the line, though, and I couldn't let my pettiness keep getting in the way. Olivia, based on current data, what is your recommended course of action to stop this meteor?
I thought you would never ask. Your current plan would work with my new trajectory, but there's still a 62.481% chance of the impact knocking your shields offline and leaving you unable to successfully perform a controlled re-entry.
The meteor displayed in my heads-up display with flashing targets along its surface.
If you instead circled around and used your plasma blasts in these locations, it would weaken the structural integrity enough that it would break up if you pushed it into the atmosphere from above.
A dotted line appeared, highlighting the angle that I should fly at. Well, that certainly sounds far less painful. Reroute power from shields to plasma blaster as appropriate.
Yes, sir. Done.
Sir? Why the sudden respect after all that sass earlier?
I know the effect my voice has on you. You were moments away from losing consciousness, so I took a calculated risk. Based on my predictions, replying in that manner would make you angry and force you to focus on me instead of the pressure. Essentially, you would be so stubborn that you would stay away just to spite me.
You really are more like her than I care to admit.
She did provide a considerable amount of my source code.
I opened fire with my plasma blasters at the targeted locations, taking out small chunks of the meteor. The pass took less than a second, but I trusted that my shots hit their intended targets because Olivia was providing targeting assistance. Circling around, I braced for the thrusters to kick in. I felt my stomach climb into my throat as I accelerated back towards the meteor. Power adjusted from my plasma blasters to my forward shields without me needing to request it. This is how I envisioned working with the suit. I gently approached the meteor and put my arms out against it. The suit, shield, and thrusters were doing the real work, but I strained, pushing against the rock anyway. Sweat was pouring from my forehead as the heat started to get to me even through the shielding. I could see the meteor breaking up under me. I tried to read the size reports to ensure that they would all burn up, but the display was blurry. Or maybe it was my eyesight. That was the last thing I thought before everything went dark.
Jeremy Benedict, you get your lazy ass up right this second.
I startled awake at the screaming in my ear. The world was spinning and nothing made sense. Then I caught a glimpse of the ground coming up fast to meet me. Suddenly I realized the world wasn't spinning, I was, and I was moments from impacting. I turned on the thrusters to full power. At this rate, you can't just stop because the impact would be fatal. I was too close to the ground to slow enough either. The only option left was to lean into my momentum and redirect it. I braced myself, knowing that the pressure was going to be horrendous. Olivia, there's a good chance I'm about to black out again. I'm putting my life in your hands. If I black out, you are authorized to take complete control of the suit. The pressure hit me, and I had a moment to wonder about the health impact of blacking out twice in a row before I did just that. I woke up in a field with just about every alert going off in my ears. Olivia, are you still online?
Welcome back to the land of the living, Jeremy.
I struggled to my feet. Come on, partner. Let's go home and give you your own voice. And now a word from our author. Obviously, this story was influenced by Iron Man, but it was also influenced by multiple audiobooks that I've listened to. I really enjoy the interaction and bickering between characters and artificial intelligences within their technology. It's just something that I enjoy. When I sat down to write this myself, I thought about it and asked what would be the worst possible voice to hear in your head during important times, and how could that actually compromise you? Thus was born Voice in My Head. This chapter of Bite-Sized Tales has been brought to you under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License. Intro and outro music is Fantasy Motion by Alexander Nakarada, provided under a Creative Commons 4.0 license. If you enjoyed what you heard today, we would greatly appreciate reviews and recommendations to your friends. Finally, for more information about our authors, please visit bitesizedtales.com. We look forward to reading to you next time.